you from, me boy?
Gary, Indiana.
I knew it! Gary. Where'd you say?
Gary, Indiana.
Chocolate City, my hometown, Gary, Indiana. Still in the dark. Why does it seem that no one cares? Let me ask a simple question. How long would you tolerate living without electricity before you started demanding answers in your city? Because right now, the people of Gary, Indiana have been doing exactly that. We're talking about refrigerators full of spoiled food, people struggling just to charge their damn phone, fam. Families trying to figure out what they're going to eat. They got to drive over to Chicago just to get food, gas. Some people got power, a few got lights, but the fight ain't over. It's just the beginning. Let's get into it.
Listen, that's a goddamn shame what's going on in Gary, Indiana. Them folks been without power for 2 weeks. If that was any other state, Florida, Texas, California, power companies from all over the fucking country, trucks would be lined up long as the eye can see, and they'd have been in there and they'd have got that shit cleaned up and got them people up running. But nah, this is Gary. They sitting on their motherfucking hands on them black folks, man. I'm going to tell you something, man. We having one of the hottest summers on record. So I can imagine what these folks going through. The frustration, the sickness. This should be water stations, cooling stations, medical tents, food trucks from all over the country in that motherfucker to help them people, man. Listen to what I'm telling you, man. But I guarantee you, if you go to the nice part, that bitch probably lit up like a Christmas tree. See, they only do certain people like that, man. I love the way the community is coming together out there. All them brothers, the pit masters, barbecuing for the communities and shit. Unity. Because you got to stay on top of these motherfuckers, because when you need the help, you see the position that you're sitting in. The crazy part about this is, I didn't learn about this shit on the news. I found out through TikTok. So all your major news outlets are sweeping this type of shit up under the rug, man. You know what motherfuckers are talking about? Is Trump having an affair with one of his aides that worked for him in the White House. Shit like that. But folks, man, suffering like a motherfucker right now, man. This is America, boy. See, you need to take this as lesson learned. And I'm not just talking about Indiana. I'm talking about all the fucking states, man. Because it could be Gary today. It could be your motherfucking state the next day. And you see what the outcome can be. You better motherfucking stack up on your shit. You better go get water and stack that motherfucker from the floor to the ceiling. Get your generators. Get all your shit, man, so you don't have to worry about these bitches that like to keep their foot on your neck, man. Because I'm going to tell you something. Hard times is coming to this motherfucker. This right here ain't nothing but an eye-opener. This should be a lesson to a lot of folks, man. You better save up on that motherfucking bread, man, and start buying shit that you need. All them clothes y'all buying, all that jewelry y'all buying, all them shoes and all that crazy shit. You see when the crisis hit, you can't eat your shoes. You can't drink your clothes. I'm telling you, man, you better get ready. Y'all stay up out there. Get it out the mud.
Y'all, what is going on? What is going on in Gary, Indiana? Please, somebody, share, repost, send help. Send help.
PushGapRadio.com, Hamilton Park, Dallas, Fort Worth.
PushGapRadio.com in Hamilton Park, Dallas, Fort Worth. Welcome back to another edition of Shaka 401 in the main event on PushGapRadios.com. Today we're here to talk about my hometown, fam. At the time of this recording, the power is not fully back on in Gary, Indiana. Nigga, 219 for life. That's as of the recording of this program on Sunday, August 23rd. Now, they only have one power company up there in Gary, NIPSCO, Northern Indiana Public Service Company. They've been a monopoly for years, fam. But again, people are still without power. Gary is one of the hardest hit areas. Nearly 23,000 customers in Gary are still expected to wait for power to come back on Tuesday, the 25th. That's NIPSCO's current target for full restoration in Gary. Although some individual neighborhoods may get power sooner, you know who they are. Them folk. Again, it's not the entire city that's still dark. A few people have some power. Now, some people are saying that NIPSCO declined an offer from Con Ed over in Illinois, their power company, for help with power restoration and to get some crews over there. Don't know how true that is. Haven't seen it documented anyway. But if it wasn't for TikTok and social media, many of you would have no idea. You know how they do us. I'm from Gary, Indiana. Gary Horseman, class of 1979, baby. The bangingest class to ever walk a stage. Again, it took TikTok and social media for folk to even notice we were still in the dark. So I ain't talking about some shit I saw on Google. I'm talking about home, the 219, baby. I still got family there. And that's why this story bothers me, man. We have our all-class reunion for Horseman High School the weekend after Labor Day, September 11th through the 13th. Hope many of you can make it to see how you can help. I know you feel it too. It ain't just me. Because if you from Gary, you already know something outsiders don't understand. The Gary been fighting to be heard for decades. They got my folk living in the Stone Age, fam. We watching people go days and days without electricity after a devastating storm. Now, a friend of mine had a girlfriend from Gary, and she and I got to talking. She was from Wallace High School. He's from L.A. Talking about, man, y'all are always talking about Gary, Indiana, a dump. And like we tried to explain, you, like the rest of folks, see Gary, Indiana as it is today. You don't see how it was when we was coming along. Gary was booming. Cats from Chicago hung out in Gary on the good corner. If you know, you know. I'm off 6th and Buchanan over off 5th. If you know, you know. But yeah, we tried to explain. Gary was booming back in the day. What you see now is what you see. That's all you see. But that's not what we grew up in. Me and the young lady. And most of my Gary family listening in now. But here's where the story gets bigger than a power outage, because it ain't simply about trees falling on the power line. Now, NIPSCO don't want you cutting down trees in your city, no matter where you are, Hammond, East Chicago, Gary, Maryville, Portage, Crown Point. They don't want you to help yourself, seems to me. But it's about infrastructure, emergency response. Where in the hell is FEMA? Where in the hell are the tax dollars going? For those of you who don't know what's going on in my fair city, baby, Chocolate City, Gary, Indiana. Let's get you caught up. Here's Roland Martin.
Gary, Indiana, buildings and homes are still without power 1 week after a historic tornado blew through the state. As of this morning, the local utility provider, NIPSCO, has restored power to 282,000 customers, but more than 83,000 businesses and homes remain in the dark due to the storm that tore across northwest Indiana on August 11th, packing winds near 100 miles an hour. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, approximately 51,600 to 52,000 black residents live in the city, making up roughly 76% of Gary's total population. NIPSCO expects to restore 100% of power by Friday, but it's not just power. It's also food and other needs.
Remember Katrina down there in New Orleans, 2005? How they did them people. Look at Flint, water still jacked up. Okay. But again, it's about accountability and whether some communities have to scream louder than others before somebody listens. But them folk down there ain't never cared about Gary, man. I was born in the 60s. Them folk ain't never cared about Gary. Once that steel mill started dying, them folk bailed out. That's how they created Maryville. But the August 11th storm was catastrophic all across northwest Indiana. NIPSCO said the damage was extensive and thousands of customers throughout the region remain affected. But Gary has been one of the hardest hit communities. How can northwest Indiana, nigga, find billions of dollars to bring the Chicago Bears to the region, but struggle to help its own residents when they need it most? Yeah, they're reporting like 20,000 to 25,000 Gary customers are still without power. And NIPSCO trying to get full restoration by Tuesday, August 25th. And folk in Gary saying they don't like the restoration schedule. It seems to them it's all about them folk first, down in Portage and whatnot. Say they feel forgotten. Where everybody at now? Does the severity of the storm explain everything residents are experiencing? Some say it's about data centers in northwest Indiana. It's not been documented. Now here's another lady, one of them folk, explaining the data center angle and what she thinks is going on. Roll tape.
I hate to say it, but you're black. They're not coming to you in a rush. You are a low priority. They're going to make sure that the white citizens and the people with money are taken care of first. That's what they're going to do. That's what they have always historically done. It sucks, but that's the nature of the game, man. You just got to try to be ready for shit like this. But the problem is you ain't never ready. You ain't never ready. But look,
almost 100,000 people in Gary, Indiana are stuck and suffering. They've been without power for a week due to severe storms in the area. Just a month ago, the people of Gary were expressing concern about data centers' effect on their electricity. The total number of data centers in Indiana is 147. That's 23 currently operating and 120 currently being built. The state has specifically become a target for development because of its tax exemption on the electricity used by data centers, which saves each facility hundreds of millions of dollars. In October, Amazon opened a 1,200-acre, $11 billion data center in New Carlisle, Indiana. And in February, Meta broke ground on a $10 billion data center in Lebanon, Indiana. Research has shown that the existence of these large data centers puts strain on our power grids. Gary, Indiana is serviced by local utility Northern Indiana Public Service Company, or NIPSCO. So NIPSCO is the company handling this blackout. NIPSCO also loves data centers. The utility company has proposed independent deals with data centers owned by Amazon and Alphabet, and its parent company created a utility completely dedicated to servicing data centers. Between 2023 and 2025, NIPSCO raised Gary residents' electric bills by $83. NIPSCO also accidentally doubled 3,500 customers' electric bills and then didn't report the error for a year after discovering it. And it seems as though these customers still haven't gotten full refunds.
Yeah, where's the outrage? For all of it. They fumbling the ball, man. NIPSCO up there. Want to be a monopoly. Down here in Texas, I'm in Dallas. Man, it's over 200 damn power companies you can choose from. NIPSCO got these people on lockdown up there and they know it. Got them by the short and curlies. But again, where's the outrage? Is it because Gary's a black city that voted Democrat over red state Indiana? You know, them folk love Trump. We gave you Michael Jackson, fam, and the whole Jackson family, okay? But here's a young lady. She's very perturbed about what's going on. Because, again, it ain't on the Jacksons to help us. It's on us to help ourselves. Roll tape.
Gonna get mad, but I really don't give a damn. I'm trying to show y'all how much some of these people don't give a fuck about us. Gary, Indiana is on day 9 without power. Day 9, and Gary is more than 75% black. So y'all keep trying to tell me racism is dead, slavery is over, everything is equal now. Okay, then explain to me why a predominantly black city is sitting in the dark for 9 motherfucking days. And where is the outrage? Where are all these allies? Where are all these people who swear they care about black people? Because I don't see y'all yelling about Gary. I don't see Gary on everybody's timeline. I don't see the same energy. But y'all want to be absolved of everything so motherfucking badly because slavery makes y'all uncomfortable. Well, if y'all really care, then care when nobody's watching. Because this is exactly when your allyship is supposed to mean something. And let me remind y'all who came out of Gary, Indiana. Michael Jackson. You just made over $1 billion off a movie about this man's life. And the city that gave birth to him is sitting in the damn dark. How the fuck does that make sense? And every Jackson should be saying something because Gary gave y'all a beginning. But this ain't just about the Jackson family. This is about a whole damn city. We've already watched what happened in Flint. We've already watched black communities get neglected and then get told to be patient. But every election, y'all come knocking on our doors asking for our votes. For what? You want our votes? Then show us what the fuck you're doing for our communities when we're hurting. People are sitting in darkness. People are losing food. People are struggling to work. People are trying to survive. And I'm tired of silence being the answer. So tell me, what the fuck is the government doing about Gary, Indiana? Because we see this shit. And if you really care about black people, Gary should be all over your motherfucking timeline.
Again, is it because Gary is a predominantly black city, man? Remember Puerto Rico, Flint, Michigan, and they water? Katrina in New Orleans back in 2005? Them folk are always the priority when stuff like this happens. Check it out.
So there's a story coming out of Gary, Indiana. And this has been sliding under the radar. I mean, it's definitely not national news. Actually, let's be real, man. We know based on, the past, Hurricane Harvey, Katrina, black communities are not prioritized in these emergency events. When systems go down, whether it's electricity, whatever the case may be. We saw how, those who were alive or who were old enough to remember Katrina. And when that hurricane swept through New Orleans, man, you had people up on rooftops, for days. I mean, literally for days, no fresh water up to the, literally flood water up to the second story of these homes in a vast majority of New Orleans. And, people was just like, it was diabolical, the way they left them citizens. And like I said, Hurricane Harvey, there have been other events where, black communities, like I said, they pretty much are, last on the list. Let's be real, man. And I'm sorry, man, everything around, everything in this country revolves around money, power, and race, in any particular order. And it affects surrounding more affluent communities, white communities. They are going to be the priority. That's just the way we've seen this play out. That's not me jumping up here looking for something to talk about regarding race. That's just the facts. And so, I'm not surprised the way they kind of dragging their ass, addressing what's going on in Gary, Indiana.
And now they're reporting that some folks shot at the NIPSCO driver. Come on, man. That was trying to fix the power line. You really believe that? Really? It's not documented, so we don't know for sure. Maybe it's just an excuse for NIPSCO not to help my fair city. That's just their way of trying to show the world that we violent, though we learned it from the best, them white boys.
Realize that, yes, the involvement of violence in black folks comes from that long history that the president was talking about, that we have to remember that we learned from some of the best. They had some white boys came over here that did the first beheadings in Point Coupee, Louisiana, where I'm from.
But they're just trying to show we violent, and that's why we can't get the help. Sounds like bullshit to me.
NIPSCO, this energy supply company, and Gary is talking about, we've kind of had to scale back our response because people are being violent towards our utility service members, basically saying they're being attacked in certain cases because people are that pissed off. There's talk that a utility service vehicle was shot up. Nobody was in it at the time, is what they're saying. And I'm thinking like, damn, that's cap. I don't know for sure, but I believe that's cap. Does that even make sense to you? Y'all have been without power for over a week. You are desperately in need of your service being restored. I think NIPSCO used that and tried to run this whole, who is going to shoot up a service vehicle? How is that helping you get your power back on? So that don't make any sense to me at all. If it ain't about money in this country, it's about race.
Now, is this a test run for the rest of America? While y'all sitting here laughing at Gary, how come we ain't been getting national news? It's a joint happened up Thursday and somewhere in Pennsylvania. They instantly on the news. But when it happens to Chocolate City, Gary, Indiana, you understand? We got to get folk to get on here from the city to let us know what's going on. That's why they wanted to get rid of TikTok, because it happens right then, right there. And they don't like that, man. Yeah, you remember that movie, The Purge? Is this a test run for the rest of America? They're already screwing us over. See what they did with COVID. Again, where the hell is FEMA? They pulling a George Bush like they did during Katrina. George Bush looking out like he concerned and then flew his ass off to Vegas, wherever the hell he went.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Money, power, and race. Why is everything always about race? Because that's what the hell America was built on. Check this out.
The power outage in Gary, Indiana ain't got nothing to do with power. Gary, Indiana is one of the only all black cities left in America. Wake up.
Okay, so I just found out not too long ago that Gary, Indiana been without power for approximately 8 days since last Tuesday. And the first thing that came to my mind was the purge. Not only that, but it led me also to the thought of how, on a deeper scale, a lot of dams and a lot of riverbanks and lakes and stuff are built either on top of cities or next to cities. Take New Orleans, for example. It's like a freaking fishbowl. And the dams or the levees at any point is there to cause commotion and stage it as a natural disaster. Again, if you go...
Yeah, Gary, Indiana, baby. The 219, on and on and on. I don't care how long I live in Texas or anywhere else. Gary, Indiana, baby, heart of steel. We're resilient people in Gary. Down here in Dallas, everyone from Gary is doing great. That's how we were raised. That's how we were brought up, to be strong, to do for self, to find a way or make a damn way, all right? But what we need now is some investigation going on. Here's what we need to do about it. Folk need to quit the bullshit, trying to rob people, this, that, and the third, if that's what's going on. Don't trust mainstream media. And pull together. I know that's what they're doing, because that's what we do down here, people from Gary. When somebody need help, best we can, we help out. I'm looking to help when I come home in September, Mom. But yeah, Gary don't need pity. Gary needs power right now. And NIPSCO need to get off their ass. State of Indiana need to let more companies come in. So there's some competition up there with that shit. But yeah, Gary need power, not just electrical power, nigga, political power as well. You see how they try to keep us down, man. It took 15, 20 years ago of people writing to the news in Chicago, because when they tell the weather, they never put Gary up there. What does that tell you? They always want to tell you Michael Jackson's from Indiana. Everyone else, they tell you where they're from, Cincinnati, Miami, New York. But whenever they talk about people from Gary, it's always just they're from Indiana. That's how they do it. We can't even get on the damn weather map, man. We need power to demand some answers. And the next time somebody say some shit about why is Gary complaining, the answer is simple, because Gary needs to be heard. It was one nigga on here talking about God punishing Gary. No, they ain't. We don't have a race problem. We have a problem race, fam. Here's a website where you can go to get help. If there are any other places that you think can help out, please put it up. Let folk know. Those of us coming home in September, bring a little extra money so we can donate to our fair city mind, get us back on our feet. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going home in September again to the Gary Horseman All High School Reunion, fam. Hope to see you there. Every little bit helps. Do what you can. But yeah, come back home, man. What did Jackson say? I'm going back to Indiana, nigga. 219 for life. Never average, never mediocre. Online, on point, and on the freaking money. Pray until something happens. God always provides. At pushgapradios.com, the power is in the name. Gary, Indiana, stay strong, baby. We coming to help. Whatever we can do. I see Keith Lee supposed to be popping through. We appreciate him as well. Gary, Indiana, nigga. Stand up. Push Gap. We out.
Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana. My home sweet home.
PushGapRadio.com. Bridging the gap between old school and new school radio. PushGapRadio.com. It's Dallas, baby.